What is going on, guys? It's Burgas here and welcome to another Call of Dragons video. Today we're going to talk about the merits. I think this is, the hot topic in Call of Dragons. How to get more merits, how to do everything. And today I'm going to talk about specifically for top players, top tier players, how they achieve the merits they're having. And by top tier players, this don't mean the whales and okay, majority of the top tier players are whales, okay, but there is a people who is like 100 million, 120 million, something like this. Is not something wild. It's completely achievable from every player in Call of Dragons. Now, Call of Dragons merits farming look like pure spending from the outside. If you see it, you're going to think over, okay, Burgas, I totally know what is merits farming. You're basically throwing like 3 infantry legions in the enemy direction. For example, Kuma with Liquan, Gores Kogo, or maybe Joran and Ewanir. Or Ewanir Joran. You basically throw these legions non-stop and you make tons of merits. I know I'm going to get comments like this, but hear me out. Hear me out. From the outside, it's looking actually that is spending related. What is decoration? What is your pet? What's your artifact? And this is completely true. Don't get me wrong. If you have crazy pet, if you have crazy artifact, example one, if you max it decorations, your legion is going to walk like a god among the humans, okay? We know that. But I'm talking about something I'm talking about the top players who is like you and me, okay? Like you and me, who is not well, who is not Kraken. Top Call of Dragons players are actually winning through positioning, trait selection, and efficient discipline. This Call of Dragon gameplay breakdown explains why emotional fights loses resources where efficient plays farm massive merits with smaller traits. This is going to be the topic for today, and let's dive in. Now, top players avoid fair fights. Period. If you have to get something from this video at the end of the day, you get only this. Top players are avoiding fair fights. One of the top players you're going to see the majority of the cases back in the days when there was separation between the players. I mean, for example, I'm mage main, this dude is cavalry main, this one is marksman main, this one is mage main, where we was some mains, you know, mages, cavalry, etc. There was a clear separation that one of the top performers in the game in the KVK back in the days, understand, before like half year, was actually a cavalry players. Now I can say the cavalry players are one of the players that completely are not playing fair. What I mean by that is striking your AFK legions. You go out with your legion to kill Darkling Patrus with your mages, great, they're going to strike you. You sent your legions to, you know, grab maybe this pet here, some petties here, and you forget, and your legion is AFK, they're going to strike you. I mean, the cavalry is one of the most unfair players in general, and all power to them. The war is not something fair in general. It's not like I punch you, you punch me, and if I punch more harder, I win. No, it's everything is unfair here, especially the Spring Wardens with the Eagles. Back in the days, I was witnessing one dude with the Eagles was making like 10 million merits, and 10 million merits for that days was a pretty high result. 10 million was the top players. Right now, people are having troops, people are having more heroes, are having more artifacts, and etc. So they can make, way more merits. But back in the days, there was not even many flying heroes. Even right now, we're not having that many flying heroes. So these dudes, back in the days, was the reason that for the first and last time I go in Spring Warden. Right now, Spring Warden is very famous for Roots of War because people are using flying units to get the stone, and etc. You know, there is a specific way of playing in the Roots of War, but in general, that was the main reason I switched back in the days in the Spring Warden. I just saw this dude, he performed absolutely crazy good, and I was like, Eagles, easy peasy, we go there. But yeah, now strong players farm positioning mistake instead of forcing brute force engagement. Now what you can understand for what brute force actually mean is just attacking the front lines, okay? You're attacking the infantry and you're basically doing some damage. You eat counter-attack damage, but the top players is punishing positioning. What positioning mean? Is, for example, one of the enemy legions are hitting one infantry. This infantry decide to go back. By going back, the enemy mages are start moving with this legion, and one of these players is punishing these mage legions or marksman legions that get out of positioning. Sometimes the marksmen get greedy. They get close to the infantry. The moment I see marksmen get close to the infantry, I immediately switch to those marksmen and I'm punishing them for this bad positioning. Every type of positioning mistake should be punished. This is the best place where you can actually get some crazy amount of merits. It's just by sitting and waiting some legion to be punished. You're going to fill your pockets with merits. It can be marksmen. The best is if you punish mages, because mages are having the lowest HP in Cavalry Dragons. If you go and try to compare, for example, Celestials, tier 5 Celestial is having 192 HP. Ballista is having 211 more. The Cavalry guy is having 229 more. Only Vestos are having the same amount of HP, 192. So mages are having less HP, and the moment you strike mages, it can be with your marksmen or with your mages, you're basically filling your pockets with merits. At this moment, you're making crazy good trades. And this is what the players should look like. It's not like sitting there and, you know, it's like, okay, let's hit this infantry. After this, I'm going to hit this infantry. This is bad trades. Now, if you go and hit your infantry that is under 50%, yeah, I can say maybe it's going to be good straight, but in general, I'm trying to avoid this type of mistake. Now, emotional fights creates terrible healing efficiency during long KVK sessions. By emotional fighting, understand that, for example, I have a couple emotional fights. Is, for example, I make a mistake. For example, I get too close, or I get greedy to hit, for example, one legion on the other side of the river, and somebody punish me. And I see the name of this somebody. He punished me for some other my mistake later again. I know the name, and I see the name again, and from here things become personal. So this is one of the places where the things can go in the wrong direction, basically not in your direction. Some emotional fights you can actually do, and this is going to create a terrible healing. You're basically going to fill your hospital. The other thing I can say is right now I'm waiting for a Battle of Abyss. Is Sunday. I don't have enough merits to buy one of the most brutal spells in Cavalry Dragons. This is Fatal Bite. This one thing is brutal spell. The second thing is the only critical damage skill, and the third thing for the physical damage, and the third thing, it costs a lot. It costs a lot. If I want to go and actually do a sailing of this spell, how much is going to cost? Is going to be 5.1 thousand pet coins. Is basically I'm going to double my coins right now. So in case like this, I should be emotional, okay? By emotional, I mean I'm going to throw everything. I'm going to throw infantry. I'm going to throw a cavalry. I'm going to throw everything I have, so I will be able to buy this pet skill. Now I'm not quite sure my infantry is having enough stamina. Okay, my Gorish is having 88 stamina, so this is completely fine. My Kuma is also having 88, so we're going to do fine, okay? We're going to do fine, but this is a rare case, and this is Battle of Abyss. Some people are actually having emotional fights in the real KVK, which creates terrible healing efficiency during long KVK sessions. The other thing is bad traits drain Elixir faster than most WoW spenders realize. Now, one of the common mistakes I see people, especially when they're waiting a lot. For example, we're jumping after gate 2 in this zone, but the enemy decide to not come, or the enemy go to other place to fight, okay? Now, in case like this, we're sitting here and we're farming, okay? We're getting some Battle of Abyss, we're collecting Elixir. The next zone open after gate 3 and people rush there to fight. The people who are sitting and not doing much is going to spend their elixir way more easy, and they're going to do way more bad traits. This is my observation playing this game for like over 3 years. They're going to do bad traits, okay? Because they're going to be overexcited. They're going to be emotional. And this is where the good traits for the positive team are coming. Just the bad traits is going to drain also those elixirs, because those people are going to be, oh my god, I have so much elixir, so let's fight. Okay, with 1 infantry, the enemy kill my 5 infantry marches. Who cares? I have elixir. Throw them again. And this is where the bad traits are actually coming. Now, high merit players constantly disengage before enemy reinforcement timing arrive. They constantly disengage. They're not chasing. They're waiting. One of the things that, when I'm playing the game, I get disappointed is, for example, I'm sitting here behind the spire and I'm waiting the enemy to come. Just because I know they should come, because this is the only way they can proceed in this zone, or they can push us out, or whatever is the reason. I'm waiting. And I see some players are fighting around the bridge, they eat some damage, and I'm not moving. I'm sitting like a stone. And the moment those people get sent at hospital, or some push happen, by push understand some infantry start blinking, they catch all of the fighters here, and the last line of resistance is people like me. People like me who is sitting behind the spire. All the people who was fighting around the bridge are catched and dead. And this is because right now I'm getting in disadvantaged position, from the advantage position to disadvantaged position, just because some people don't know how to position their legions. They're greedy, they're chasing, and from there they get destroyed. And this is where the people should understand that this is the time right now. You should disengage. Don't go there. Just wait a little. The enemy don't have patience. You also don't have patience. But you have to be smarter from the enemy. Now let's talk a little about the archer. Archer players punish isolated DPS instead of attacking tank formations. Even though that I believe the Marksmen is actually very nice right now, but you know what the Marksman can do to a mage. Marksman can break the legs of the mage. So if the Marksman players have a chance to catch some mage player, just more power to this Marksman player. Now, top players perceive stamina and mana for profitable window only. One of the things I'm doing when I'm in KVK is I don't spend. Okay, I'm going to show you the previous season what was. As you can see, I don't have that much healing. Okay, I still have some healing, but I don't have that much healing. The reason behind is I heal only when I'm in defense position and when I get some juicy amount of trades. And there's going to be always great defense positioning, and I think the alliances should know that, understand that if we, for example, enter in this zone, we're fighting at the center, but for some reason we start get pushed, this here should be sieged. This thing should be sieged, and players like me is going to do resource healing and is going to protect this thing with everything they have. Even this thing for some reason, this part for some reason get break, there's going to be a second choke point that can be a best place to farm the enemies. At one point, just because you're farming them at the choke point, it can actually turn around the war in this zone. The enemy can be more stronger, but if you farm them at the choke point, if you do like 5-to-1 trades, at one point they're going to fill their hospitals, and this is going to be your time to push when they fill their hospital. This is little strategy from something that the leadership should think over. But yeah, just saying. Now, most whales lose resources because ego overrides efficient discipline. Especially if it's involved with the global chat, things can go absolutely wild. Now, merits come from punishing mistakes. You have to understand that. First thing, the top players are avoiding the fair fights, and the second thing, they're punishing mistakes, and this is from where the merits are coming. Top players watch movement pattern more than raw enemy power. Overextended marches become free merits regardless of account strength. And this is so true. It doesn't actually matter if you catch, for example, some overextended mage or marksman marches, drop from this plateau, you blink with 2 or 3 infantry here, you walk like 20 legions here. It don't matter if this legions is a well Kraken, free to play, wall spender. It don't matter who is here. Everything that is catched out of position is going to get killed. No matter well Kraken, it don't matter. Everything is going to get destroyed. So you have to keep this thing in mind. Frontline DPS positioning creates predictable targeting opportunities for marksmen and mages. Slow retreat timing massively increase severely wounded troop count. So you have to see. One of the things that I can tell you is you have to see how the things are going. I mean, you should not actually go with quick battle and march attack. By the way, I have a person who asked me how I make this magic. It's actually going from the quick battle and march attack, and you just click on quick battle, and right now all of your legions is going to be with quick battle. But yeah, this is something that I don't suggest that much. I really don't understand why the game actually involved this quick battle. Yeah, it's helpful, but it's more like to be able to control a couple accounts like this, just quick battle and send them in one direction with the march attack. I don't know. I really don't know. Still, I see some benefits in this quick battle at the end of the day. But yeah, strong players, the other thing, strong players bait aggressive marches away from alliance protection zone. Open field grid creates more merits opportunities than actual war objectives. And it's true, it's the grid what is going to make a lot of merits. Is just the grid. When you are greedy, you go out of positioning. When you're out of positioning, you just get punished right there. So I think everybody understand that. Now, why bad players love frontline fightings? Frontline fighting feels productive even during terrible resource exchanges. Many players confuse activity with actual strategy efficiency. While frontline traits heavily favor stronger healing economies over time. And by stronger healing economies, I should mention that this accounts with a lot of elixir production, because I think I said it in one of my videos, but right now I have in the hospital 645k servantly wounded. This is 71 million mana. If normally one whale who is having 2 million free healing is having over 1 million troops free healing elixir production per day from a normal player, even low spender. So imagine 1 million, this is like 100 million mana per day. This well safe just because it's having enough troops to hit the daily elixir production to be 2 million. I mean, this is actually the maximum daily elixir production is capped to maximum of 2 million. Now I have like 500,000 right now. Maybe it's going to be 1.3 million when I finish everything here. But even then, one well with 2 million free healing is going to have like 75 million mana per day more healing from me and other resources. Obviously, it is what it is. So frontlines is actually benefiting whales and krakens at the end of the day. You're not going to be able to keep up with the healing. Now DPS marches standing still become free value for AoE punishers. One of the things that I try to do is with my mages, I'm trying to catch like 2 or 3 infantry at same place. I always try to hit infantry that are under 50% HP, because hitting full HP infantry legion is just going to bring very bad traits of your legion. These days, the counter attack those infantry are having is crazy. On top of that, the infantry is having ironclad or alertness, swordsman alertness, that is giving you stacks of ironclad, and you can get 40% less ironclad, reduce range damage taken by up to 40%, which is absolutely wild. So you have to just fight smart these days, and you're going to achieve very nice merits at the end of the season. So this is one more video about the merit strategy here. I'm going to put one other video, it can be interesting for you. Don't forget to hit one like on the video, it helps a lot the video. Also, if you want to support my channel more, you can become a member and get access to my member only videos, my stream, member only streams, and other perks. I wish you a great day and see you in the next video.